Before we dive into the action, let's give a massive shout out to the powerhouse behind this epic event, none other than the American Fisheries Society, Washington, British Columbia chapter. These champions are hooking up the future of fisheries science by supporting student anglers through this event.
Welcome everybody to the last cast, the grand finale of the Cascadia Catch. My name's Sean Simmons. I'm president and founder of the Anglers Atlas and MyCatch, and also past president of the Washington, BC chapter of the American Fisheries Society. Today, I'm excited to share with you the final show for this year's event. We're featuring 3 of the top anglers. We got Tad Iritani from Simon Fraser University, Torrie Nicholas from Thompson Rivers University, and up here in Prince George, Alannah Penno from the University of Northern British Columbia. In today's show, we'll be talking with these 3 anglers as well as sharing some of the stats from this citizen science event, and of course, revealing the winners. But before I jump in, a little bit of housekeeping to go over. If anyone has any questions, in the bottom right corner, there are 9 dots on your screen. If you click that open, you will see a Q&A section in which you can ask questions. And Maya, who's on the call right now, will be reviewing the questions and prompting them during the call. Please feel free at any time to react using any of the emojis at the bottom. And for those lucky winners on the call, payouts will be in early November. Now, I'd like to pass it off to my co-host, Jim Clarke, with a little bit of high-level stats.
Thanks, Sean, and welcome everybody to this wrap-up show for the Cascadia Catch. I'm the events director for the MyCatch team. I always say I'm the angler on the team, and I'm also a seasoned tournament angler, having spent over 35 years in tournaments across Western Canada and into the United States. So anyway, a quick breakdown of the Cascadia Catch stats. We had a total this year of 7 schools from BC and Washington competing. We had 34 anglers reporting a total of 155 fishing trips, and those 155 fishing trips generated 311 fish caught and registered. The teams fished for a total of 51 different individual water bodies and spending 450 hours total on the water. So with all that juicy data, we got an average catch rate of 0.69 fish per hour. Also on top of that, we also captured the 0 trips. As you guys know, that was part of the science of the event, or the trips with no catches. And remember that every stat is part of citizen science. So thank you very much for participating. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. We'll be going into those stats in a little bit. But first, let me start with an opening video on our first angler, Tad Iritani. I guess I should share the screen first. Figure out how to do that. All right.
Now, let's cast a line into the stats and see what gems Tad has hauled in. He's logged an impressive 38 hours fished, reeled in 8 fish, conquered 4 different waters, and mastered 5 species. Talk about a fishing powerhouse. Give it up for this Simon Fraser University star. Switching gears to the leaderboard rankings, Alexander's name is blazing at the top. He snagged first place with the longest rainbow trout with a nice steelhead, a catch that's the stuff of legends. Plus, here's a fun fact. Though he reps SFU, Alexander took some epic event trips to Washington, landing some of his biggest catches. Though he's working on his PhD, he's got serious fishing skills. Whether it's float, fly, or spin, he does it all.
Yeah, that's great, Tad. Yeah. So I'm going to welcome you from wherever you're joining us right now. It's hard to keep up with you sometimes. You're trotting across the border, catching fish and everything. But that 72.9 centimeter rainbow / steelhead, it was a great fish. And if you want to share real quickly, where were you and what was going through your mind when that fish hit?
Yeah. So I went back home. I've been going back and forth across the border a fair bit back to Washington, but I was actually salmon fishing on the Washington coast, and I remember like the salmon bite had kind of slowed down, so I was just like moving spots, trying to find new places and just casted my spinner into this like little hole that was probably like 6 inches to a foot deep. And it was just like this really fast water, and the fish hit and it just started jumping all over the place. So I knew pretty quickly I had a steelhead on. And I was stoked about it. Didn't expect it. And yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Right on.
Very cool. So you recruited 5 students at SFU. Can you walk us through the strategy on how you did the student recruitment?
Yeah, it was part of it was like emailing fisheries labs at Simon Fraser. That was one way, and then also just reaching out to people I knew at Simon Fraser that fished. And once I kind of told them about the tournament, everyone was pretty stoked and like super eager to get involved. So it was both kind of word of mouth, and then also definitely just sending emails out to people I thought would be interested.
Cool. Okay, so Tad, we're going to ask you and the other guests on this call. We're calling them the lightning rounds. We're just going to ask 3 quick questions. So the other ones, be ready. So Tad, you're off the hop here. What was your favorite water body this season?
Probably the one this little slough that's like 5 minutes from my house, just because it's so convenient and it's in the middle of the city. I'm catching salmon, so I can't complain.
Okay. What about one tip for next year's anglers?
Just don't be afraid to like explore new water and fish areas you haven't fished before, because you just don't know what you can find.
Okay. Lastly, flies, lures, bait, or which one?
I've been fishing a lot of lures this year. Just it's very versatile and it's very active, which I like. So that's definitely my go-to right now.
Cool. Well, those are great insights, Tads. Thank you very much for joining us from SFU. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, before we jump to the next topic, Tad, one of the key parts of this whole event is about introducing students to citizen science. And so one of the things we're going to be doing is on November 18th, hosting a citizen science workshop. And I'm just wondering from your perspective, so is there something about the data that was collected, any burning questions you've got about the data, something you'd really like to dive deeper? And do you see any ways that these approaches, this new method of engaging anglers to address fishery science, could be used in any research questions you might have?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of potential with it. No specific questions come to mind, but I think it could be used to answer a lot of questions where we have anglers are such a good resource and they're so knowledgeable and they're out on the water. It's an easy way to get a lot of data. So I think it could be really beneficial, and it's part of the reason I've been so gung-ho and involved in this whole citizen science thing. Is I think it's definitely has a lot of potential.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that's a natural segue to our next segment, which is all about the data. So let me just share the screen here. This is the dashboard that we provide our agency partners, any of the partners that we work with for the wide range of fisheries, citizen science projects that we run. This is basically the regional overview. So you can see basically across the whole state and province of British Columbia here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. You can see basically at the north, you've got a cluster here around Prince George. Certainly Kamloops really filled in the area around Kamloops. You've got something in lower Okanagan, a little lower mainland, and lots of Vancouver Island with a few spots in Washington State. Now we're going to just go through, basically we've got 51 water bodies surveyed here. And I should stop and emphasize, secret spots stay secret. As the data is collected, the exact location is never revealed. We're very protective of that data because we know that's the important relationship and trust that we have with the anglers, and that's the promise we make. But since this is for science, it has to be revealed at some geographic level. And the balance generally is if we share water body level, most anglers are cool with that. So that's essentially what you're seeing here is water body level. Of the 34 anglers that were participating, you can see certainly the strong cluster around Kamloops. Vancouver Island came out of nowhere with a whole bunch of catches. We have a total of 155 trips that have been reported. 76 zeros. And again, an important piece of the data is the zeros, because that tells you what's not being caught on these waters. You have 311 fish, 450 hours fished, with a catch rate overall across all species of 0.69. And so this gives you that high level overview of what's happening across the landscape during this event. The next thing I'm going to jump to is the histogram. And this tells us a lot about the length distribution of the data. So on this graph, you can see, and again, this one is just for the rainbow trout, but we can flip to any of the other species, the pink salmon, the chum, northern pike minnow that were caught and reported. And here for the rainbow trout, we had our smallest at 5 to 6 inches, and you can actually pull up the fish and you can actually see that fish being measured right there. At the high end, this is Tad's catch, basically. You can see the steelhead that was caught. And then overall, the average fish length was 14.5 centimeters, with the biggest, or 14.5 inches, with the longest catch at 12 to 13 inches. You can flip to the centimeter view if you want to prefer using that metric as well. I don't know, Jim, any thoughts about the data so far?
No, not really, Sean, other than just really impressive overall stats for sure. I'm always very impressed with anglers reporting their zeros too, because nobody really likes to call out that they didn't do very well, but it is very important data. We need to know if anglers are catching fish, or just as much as if they're not catching fish. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we often incentivize the zeros with tough luck prizes. Not everybody likes winning them, but at least you get a little cash. Moving on to this third set of charts. These were charts we added just last year. It was actually our partners in Indiana that came up with the displays on some of the data, and we thought this was perfect. So now we've incorporated this to the dashboard. And what you're seeing here is a 24-hour clock. You can see when people were out fishing. So the earliest they went out, 6 a.m., very few. And then it rose in the morning, although really it was the afternoon. So I'm guessing that's after class for most of the students here, when most of the fishing took place. But what's interesting is when you notice the catches, 11 to 12, there was a sweet spot on that catches from that time frame. I haven't dug in any deeper to find out why, but very interesting. Notice that there was an anomaly at the 11 to 12, and then the catch rate certainly had a catch rate of 1.4 fish per hour at that stage. So this gives you a sense of basically how you can see the fishing patterns throughout a 24-hour cycle. Any final thoughts on that before we jump to the next area, Jim?
The only thing I think is the students really like to sleep in a little bit. I like getting out there on those early mornings myself because it's a little bit quieter, but I understand students are in school, then they're fishing, then they're probably studying in the evening. So I understand it, but yeah, I like to go really early myself.
Excellent. All right. The next video up is Alannah Penno. And let me just get that all dialed in, share the screen, and get this activated.
We're casting our spotlight on Alannah Penno from the University of Northern BC, and trust us, this is one angler you won't want to miss. Now, let's reel in the stats and see what catches Alannah has mastered with her classic setup. She's put in 21 hours fished, hauled in an impressive 30 fish, tackled 2 waters, and reeled in 2 species. Talk about a fishing force. Shifting to the leaderboard rankings, Alannah is dominating the scene. She snagged first place for most lure photos submitted with 29 photos taken, and in another first place triumph, she landed the first event catch, setting the tone from the start. Plus, here's a fun fact. Alannah was out there keeping it traditional, catching 90% of her fish with a simple hook and worm rig combo. Way to go, Alannah.
Awesome. Alannah, welcome.
Hey, Sean.
So Alannah is also does double duty with the MyCatch team on the quality assurance, and she's been working with us for several years, doing a lot of the back end catch reviews and working with anglers. Although just to be clear, she was not part of the quality assurance on this event. She was basically separated. But yeah, it's been really great having you on board as a competitor this go round, Alannah. So you caught the first fish, or the first fish reported in the event, a whitefish. Can you tell us about that first catch?
Yeah, so that trip was actually done by the University of Northern BC's Fisheries Club. And so myself and a couple other members went out and just had a nice morning. It was only a very small section of Crooked River, and so the fish there were quite teeny, but they were certainly happy to hit a dry fly.
Cool. Okay, well, Alannah, the UNBC team actually came out swinging right from the start. Your team had 12 members with 36 catches. A strong start for a northern campus for sure. You weren't the captain, but you were clearly a dedicated participant. So can you tell us how the team dynamic kind of flowed, and how did you get so many students on board right off the bat?
Yeah, so that'd be definitely down to the Fisheries Club once again. We're a fairly new club, and we put out a pretty solid effort in putting up posters and emails to raise awareness about the club itself and about the tournament and the event, and also just introducing members to how to sign up, how to enter, and just places to fish around Prince George.
Cool.
Nice. Now, Alannah, you're not in the traditional fisheries area. You're actually an entomologist, or studying bugs for your PhD. Can you tell us a little bit about your project?
Yeah, so for that, I'm looking at changes in the distribution and diversity of stoneflies, caddisflies, and mayflies, so the fish food species, as well as insect pests of blueberries and their relative, across both BC and Canada. And with that, I'm using primarily existing records, so stuff from museums, other studies, also from citizen science, and using that data to also project how these distributions will change under climate change.
Cool.
Oh, that's just awesome. Now it's your turn, Alannah. The lightning round for you, the 3 questions. Favorite water body this year?
Well, for this event, just like Tad there, I gotta say the nearest lake, Shane Lake. It's a bit of a larder for me, I gotta say, as it's a 20-minute walk from campus, and I can go catch dinner.
Yeah, right on. One tip for next year's participants.
Don't be afraid to try new places. Definitely case out water bodies nearby, and maybe try someplace you haven't fished before. You never know what you're gonna find.
Cool. So I think I know your favorite hook and lure used. I think it was bait, but you can answer that, but also tie in maybe a tip for people taking pictures of their hook presentation. We did that this year so that we could actually spread out the word to help people catch more fish. So if you want to answer that.
I like to go on records. My favorite lure is actually, in fact, just a simple olive green scud fly. I much prefer that. But the simple worm on a hook is very reliable and very easy, especially on these small stock lakes. I will say quite a few of my pictures did not make it on the feed, as they are not the most presentable photos. So I think if you want to be seeing your pictures of your lures showing up, use something a little bit nicer than a shredded worm on a hook.
Right on. Sean?
Awesome. Yeah, and Alannah, I think we've got a new nickname for you, the Bug Whisperer. I hope you're all right with that. All right. Yeah, great work, Alannah. And yeah, knock it out of the park for UNBC. So next up, we have the final leaderboards, and I'm just going to get to the screen share, and let me just pull up this one. And I'm going to basically navigate the screen share and let Jim walk us through the various slides. So the final leaderboards. Next.
So yeah, for
go.
now, it's the time to make the big announcements for the 2025 winners. This is the best part about my job. I get to announce winners and dole out money or cash. And I mean, Sean actually technically does it, but I'm the one that contacts everybody and lets them know. So it's pretty good that way. So are you ready there, Sean?
Yeah, well, we got the longest rainbow and steelhead shared, or it should be shared.
Okay, awesome. So we'll just start with that. So we'll start off in 3rd place. Winning $50 was Elias Newport out of the TRU University at a 61 centimeter fish. 2nd place for $100 went to Maya Sarachuk. And I'm sorry if I butchered it, Maya. I know you're on the call, but you're also from Thompson Rivers University at 62.2 centimeter fish. And 1st place with that steelhead was Alexander Tad with it from Simon Fraser University and with a 72.9 centimeter fish. So congrats, guys.
Yeah, nice work. Next up, most species.
Okay. So we've got, again, in third place, starting there, we'll go at $50 again. Jake Riley won it with Vancouver Island University with 6 species. I know you're on the call, Jake. I just want to reiterate that we do have an automatic tie break in there. So Jake was tied with several other people with 6, but he was the first one to enter that 6th fish. So it automatically placed him in that category. Second place for $100 goes to Sawyer Fallis from Vancouver Island University with 7 species. And first place for $200 was Jerry Yu with Vancouver Island University, an impressive total of 8 species, a clean sweep by Vancouver Island University.
Yeah, great job. I didn't even know anyone from VIU before this event started, but they came out of nowhere and just rocketed up to 2nd place. Nice job.
Yeah, I did an interview with the team there. They were all on it together, and they literally came out of nowhere in the 2nd week and a very strong 2nd place shortly after that. So to that team, Jerry as well, you were on a tear for the multi-species. I think you did a great job focusing on that. So congrats to that group. So we'll move on to the top 3 schools leaderboard. In 3rd place with 98 points, that's the University of Northern BC. In 2nd place at 172 points, Vancouver Island University. And in 1st place at 252 points, Thompson River University.
Awesome. Nice work. Yeah, and that's a natural segue to our 3rd angler and the video for Torrie Nicholas. So let's move that into the play position.
Now, let's drop the line on the stats and see what trophies Torrie has reeled in. She's clocked an incredible 43 hours fished, landed 53 fish, tackled 10 waters, and mastered 5 species. Talk about a fishing dynamo. Moving to the leaderboard rankings, Torrie is absolutely dominating. She's claimed 1st place with the most water bodies, 10 strong, unbeatable. And in 2nd place, she showcased her skills with the most lure photos taken, proving her tackle box expertise. Plus, here's a fun fact. Torrie's vampire leech fly was battered and well used, but unbeatable, catching fish throughout the event. Way to go, Torrie, and a fantastic job leading the Thompson Rivers University team to glory.
Yeah, nice job, Torrie. So co-captain, master strategist, and master of the vampire leech. How many fish did you catch with that leech?
I think I went the whole tournament using the vampire leech up until the very last week when we started noticing that the fish had a lot of Daphnia in them. So I switched over to a blob, which I know gets a lot of hate in the fly fishing world, but it caught me fish on the last few days. So I did cheat on my trusty vampire leech.
Brilliant.
That's awesome. Well, you and Elias started up the TRU's team from scratch, basically, and ended up with 28 team members. How did you guys attract so many members to join a brand new competition?
Yeah, I definitely have to give credit to Elias for that. Elias did such a great job of getting people interested and getting our team together, basically. He was able to get an email list from students, and then that email list got people's phone numbers, and then he developed our WhatsApp group chat, which was a great way to just message after like a day of class and say, hey, I'm hitting this lake if anyone wants to join. And yeah, it got the excitement going. So I couldn't have done it without my co-captain.
Cool.
Very cool. Now, one of the unique strategies we heard that you employed was getting a bunch of the students together and going out to Lac Lejeune for a weekend fish out. Can you walk us through how you set that up and what that was like?
Yeah. Both Elias and I were like really excited about this competition. And I think part of our strategy was getting people engaged early. So we wanted to host some sort of event in that first week just to get the ball going and get people as excited as we were. So we used the WhatsApp group chat and planned a fishing day / potluck barbecue. So everyone kind of brought up different food items and ended up having burgers on the barbecue at the end of the day. But it worked out really well to start the competition, as a lot of people didn't have fishing rods or the resources to get out to go to this lake. So I was able to bring up 5 spin casting rods, and then Elias brought his boat up and Danielle had a boat. So we all just shared knowledge, and it was really great. Like, lots of people had never fly fished before. And then on the flip side, some people had never spin casted before. So we just kind of all worked together to share knowledge and gear and flies. And yeah, it was just like a really wonderful day to get out on the water with some friends.
Shared everything except for that vampire leech.
I mean, they all saw it. They all knew what I was using, and they tried. But
Well, I'm hoping with your winnings, you either get somebody to tie up some new vampire leeches for you, or you go pick up some. But
yeah,
now it's your turn for the last of the lightning rounds.
Mhm.
And I think I know the answer to the question. Thing 3, but we'll see. Start off. What was your favorite water body this year?
Surprisingly, my favorite water body was Stake Lake, which I've never fished before. It's like a 25-minute drive out of town, and there's a beautiful dock on it. So it's great for when you don't have access to a boat. And I fly fish, and surprisingly, this dock is absolutely perfect for fly fishing. There's no rails around it or anything, and it's quite a ways out from shore, and it sits on this beautiful like 5-foot shoal and drops into like 10-12 feet right off the dock. So it was perfect. It was great. Really enjoyed it.
It sounds like it's in an awesome spot for sure.
Mhm.
So what's your one tip for next year's captain? And I know you've talked about it a couple times, the WhatsApp feature. Strong push for that, or something else?
I guess kind of goes hand in hand with the WhatsApp. I would say, like, don't be shy. Like, really put yourself out there and like chat with people, get people interested. Don't be afraid to ask for emails or phone numbers if you want people to be engaged. So yeah, don't be shy. And also, I definitely advocate for the co-captains. I think that worked out really well. Like Elias being able to target the undergrads in their NRS program, and then myself being able to target more of like the master students in our cohort. So
a little bit of divide and conquer there, right?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, last question. Fly. I don't even need to say the rest. I think bait, lure. What's your favorite?
Vampire leech till I die.
Well, thank you very much, Torrie, for answering the questions. Sean, off to you, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. And just a final wrap up, since this is a citizen science event, is there something about the data you're really curious about, Torrie?
I really like the CPUE data that you just brought up. I thought that was super fascinating. Definitely interested to like kind of deep dive into that a little more.
Very cool. And is there anything you could see using this in any future research, or any usefulness of this method?
Yeah, a lot of the lakes in our area are stocked with like different species and different strains. So, and every few years, sometimes they switch it up, or they'll throw kokanee in a lake that haven't had kokanee in the past. So I think it would be cool to see how like the condition factor or like the length of fish change over time if you're like switching up the strains or species in a lake. Like, is it going to change the size class of fish that were there originally? So I don't know. My sciencey brain kind of wants to know where that goes, but yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, that wraps up our 3 anglers tonight. And as we close out today's show, Jim, any thoughts on your end?
Just a real quick question. While you're monitoring, any online questions?
No questions yet.
Okay, so yeah, that is a wrap up for the event. The last cast finale is, as Sean came up with that. Again, 311 fish, 450 hours, 51 water bodies, 1 undisputed champion. That's the Thompson River University. I guess, Sean, we really proved that student anglers can turn fun into real science through citizen science.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a stunning success. I had no idea how many students would actually participate in something like this, because we never run it before. But I was very much impressed by the number of students that turned out, and also the camaraderie. I know, Torrie, when we were talking about, and Tad, it really created almost like a community within each one of the schools. And what we're hoping for, a key objective here is to onboard students into the American Fisheries Society, as well as bring up the awareness of citizen science as a legitimate fisheries science method. So that was really important as part of our objectives when we're doing this. I will do another call out for our November 18th at 5 p.m. workshop. It's called Hook, Line, and Thinker. Yes, totally cheesy. It'll be our first citizen science workshop. What we want to do is we do a deeper dive into the data. So the data I went over today, we're going to do a deeper dive and really get a sense of sort of what the data looks like at a granular level. Want to explore research ideas. I will share some of the research projects that we've been running across North America of all different shapes and sizes, from biosurveillance, a North American-wide event tracking blotchy bass, to a cool e-creel project where we're testing a new creel methodology that applies mark recapture or capture recapture methodologies. And in fact, I was just on a call today on predator suppression in areas where you've got invasive species. So there's all sorts of ways you can apply this method, and we'll be diving into that. And I'm also going to be launching a new competition at that time where we're going to be testing low stress methods for managing the fish. I know not all fish respond well to bump boards. Are there other sort of measurement techniques we can do? And I'm thinking having a fun competition where we measure different measuring techniques and compare it against how accurate they are for length, and also maybe how long the fish is out of water, or how well the fish swim away after you're applying that method. So start looking at various ways we can sort of test alternate measuring techniques, because our goal here is to constantly strive towards conservation. If there are ways we can improve the method while still practicing citizen science and collecting the data, that's something I think is definitely worthwhile. Jim, any final thoughts on your end?
Just that, you know what, you guys participated in the pilot, right? This was the first time we did it. So next year, we're already planning to be bigger, broader across all of North America if we can. If you're a student or at any college or university across North America, simply reach out to Sean. Sean, it's literally Sean@anglersatlas.com. Get your team signed up, express your interest to sign up. We would like to have every campus in a huge event. But really, what it comes down to is you guys that are on the call, you guys that attended the call, participated in this year's event, from Tad, from your 72.9 monster steelhead, to, Jerry used 8 species on Vancouver Island. Alannah, your 29 lure photos of your 30 fish submitted. Torrie, the deadly vampire leech. This pilot really showed what's possible when students fish.
Yeah, I'll definitely concur. I think it was really worthwhile. And a big call out to all the students as well. We know we've got some online that participated. Really important contribution you're making. And certainly we want to see you at future events, and certainly at the workshop as well. And do become a part of the American Fisheries Society. It is an amazing organization. For me, it's become a second family. If you're dedicated to a career in fisheries, this is the place where you can meet all sorts of fisheries professionals at all locations across North America and the world, as well as in all different types of fisheries practices, from the universities to the agencies to the nonprofits to the for-profits. There's a huge range of fisheries professions out there for you. So until next cast, tight lines.
Actually, I have one last thing, Sean.
One more thing. Okay.
One last thing. Yes, the event is over, but you guys are signed up through Anglers Atlas. You can still submit fish through the app and use it as a logbook. So it doesn't end just because the event is over. You can continue to send data through your profile and treat it as a logbook. A lot of my friends use it just for that. So I'll say tight lines to everybody, because hopefully you get out fishing before too much hard water shows up. And once it's here, get out on that hard water. And back to you, Sean, to wrap it all up.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do an ice fishing event. And before we wrap it up, any of the anglers or Maya, anything you want to add as wrapping it up?
Nope, no questions through the Q&A yet.
All right. Well, tight lines, everyone. Great success. Really appreciate all the effort, and we'll see you on the water.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think